Today I wanted to talk about the explosion of names that's occurring in the last few years. So back in 2022, the World Bank said there were 150 million new businesses registered globally. And of course the number of new products and the number of new services that were created was even more than that. So one of the challenges is each one of those needs a new name. And what's been happening is a lot of these names are created by the founders, or created by a committee, a naming committee, or by an employee naming contest. And they tend to be biased towards the familiar, the names that fit the category, the names that are more descriptive, that relate to a functional benefit or a feature. So what's wrong with that? That sounds like a pretty good name. Customers are going to understand it. It sort of relates to what we do. Unfortunately, these names tend to be the most forgettable and the most boring because they sound like everybody else's, because they do fit the category, because they are descriptive, and there are a lot of descriptive names out there already. It has to cut through all the digital noise, all the AI clutter that's out there, and stick to the roof of your brain like peanut butter so that it's not forgettable, and so you can build a brand around it. The more you try to come up with names that tend to be that descriptive kind of name, or that related to a feature or a function kind of name, they do tend to be more me too. And I'll give you a couple examples. Back when the internet was brand new, there was a search engine called InfoSeek. It says exactly what you use the search engine for: seeking out information. Guess what happened? Google came along. Oh my gosh. InfoSeek sort of faded away. There was also a chain of bookstores called Bookstop in Texas. At one point, they were the fourth largest bookseller in the country. Bookstop. Place to come and stop and pick out a book you want to read. And then, of course, Amazon came along. There's another challenge that's also come up recently that Mark Schaefer, who I've mentioned before, an author that I follow, and he's got a podcast called The Marketing Companion that I highly recommend. He was talking about this in today's podcast, and that has to do with trust, or the lack of trust. So think about AI and think about all the news recently about deep fakes. Do you really trust what you're seeing or not? Or you get a call from your child or from a relative that sounds just like them, and they've just had an accident and they need you to send them some money immediately. And of course, it's not them at all. It's a fake. And so when you come up with these descriptive, generic, functional, feature-sounding names that fit the category but sound like everyone else's, how do you control? How do you manage? How do you build trust? How do you build brand loyalty? How do you own the brand in the mind of your customers when it's so similar to everybody else's because it's built off of words that describe, what you do, or what that product is, or what that new SaaS offering is all about, because everyone's doing the same thing. So we helped come up with some other kinds of names. So for Desert Glory, they came out with a new grape tomato. And rather than calling it something like sweeter tomato or a sweet tomato, which it was, we called it Cherubs. And Cherubs created a brand revolutionary, not just for tomatoes, but for the entire produce category. And Desert Glory has had a commanding market share ever since. The Vitamin Shop came to us with a new line of healthier, better for you vitamins, more natural, pure ingredients. Rather than call it, pure vitamin, we called it True You. True to you, true to what you want to ingest in your body. You tend to be more organic, or you tend to value natural things. You want ingredients from Mother Nature, as opposed to all this synthetic stuff or these weird supplements. Who knows what it is, right? True You embodied that. So whether you hire a naming consultant or whether you do it yourself, avoid the generic and the descriptive. Go with a name that's more engaging, that's more memorable, that you can build that brand around, and most importantly, that you can build trust around and maintain that trust in today's clouded, noisy, digital world with AI creating fakes all the time. Go off and create that great name.